All right, environmentalists are stepping up warnings about the dangers of plastic waste in our oceans. Scientists say plastic trash goes into the marine food chain after it washes out to sea. Now, that means it could eventually end up on your dinner plate. Recycling is only a partial solution because, as we reported Monday, most products cannot be recycled. Janet Shamlian shows us how a cutting-edge plant outside Portland, Oregon may hold the key to keeping plastic out of the ocean.
This could be any recycling center in America, but what's happening inside is different than any other plant and could be a game changer for the entire industry.
This will all be processed by tomorrow morning.
Bill Cooper is the CFO of Agilex, a company recycling products chemically.
What actually is chemical recycling?
So with chemical recycling, we break down plastic to its core building blocks, down to the molecular level. Unlike mechanical recycling, which takes the plastic and reforms it into a usable pellet again.
In other words, taking used plastics, melting them down into a liquid, and turning them back into new plastics. Most plastic we toss in a recycling bin actually can't be recycled, a staggering 91%. Anything dirty or contaminated by food usually gets sent to a landfill.
We can handle meat packaging, fish packaging. The level of contamination doesn't affect our process.
And that means a whopping 95% of what comes in here can be reprocessed. It's one of only a handful of plants doing this in the United States. Here's why it matters. A dead whale found in the Philippines earlier this month filled with plastic, 88 pounds of it. Another washed ashore in Italy last week with almost 50 pounds. The world's oceans are becoming polluted by plastic.
A product that we can live without.
Nick Malice is with the advocacy group Ocean Conservancy.
What's the impact on marine life?
We know that more than 800 ocean animals are affected by plastics in our ocean. And almost every single seabird on this planet has been found with plastics in its gut.
So how do we stop it? Many experts believe that dredging the ocean isn't possible, that preventing what gets into it in the first place is the only real solution.
We also need to look at reducing the amount of single-use plastics that are being produced and consumed globally.
Some states are trying to regulate a cleaner environment. In 2018, more than 30 bills in 9 states proposed limiting food packaging and the use of straws. Most of them failed. California lawmaker Lorena Gonzalez wants to phase out all single-use plastics in her state by 2030.
We end up eating these fish that have microplastics in them and end up digesting them into our own bodies as well.
Plastic producers are starting to take ownership of the problem. Coca-Cola recently admitted it produces 3 million tons of plastic each year, reportedly more than 20% of the world's bottles. The company says it will create packaging made of at least 50% recycled material by 2030, in part using chemical recycling. At Agilex, there's no such thing as too much plastic. The company says almost all of it can be reused an infinite number of times. And recently, it started processing something most people thought couldn't be recycled: styrofoam.
We call this a coffee cup, but in the recycling world, it's a single-use product that usually ends up in a landfill. But not here. It will be crushed, it will be densified, and eventually it will become a new coffee cup.
Not just food and drink containers, but all those giant pieces used for shipping big screen TVs and other electronics.
Environmentalists might say, you're turning it back into another plastic. It's not really solving the problem.
We're not turning it into something bad. We're taking a single-use item and we're making it polyusable. We're making it usable multiple times over and over and over again.
A new method for recycling amid new hope of turning the tide on plastic in our oceans. For CBS This Morning, Janet Shamlian, Tigard, Oregon.
Got it, Janet. Thank you.